guys, this is Erin Cook, travel agent and business coach with tips for travel agents. And I am so excited to be here with Host Agency Reviews, a bunch of great people here with helping them to show newbies, especially, or maybe people that have never used this booking engine, how to navigate VAX VacationAccess, which is basically a booking engine for a lot of different suppliers. And if you're not familiar with VAX, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So I just wanted to share some overall suggestions on how to start booking and using the engine in a very basic way so that you can get stuff done. And then you can also check out the bells and whistles as you go. So today we're going to do a land-only booking to make it a little bit easy. Obviously, you can do air and things like that. And before we do that, I want to kind of show you around just so that we get a feel for where to find things when we have the time. So let's hop to it real quickly here. So there's lots of bars and menus up here. And up here at the top, the ones that are really important to know now is new reservation is where you can obviously book a new reservation or get a quote. Retrieve reservations is where you're going to look at all of the trips that you have booked, you have deposited on, and you can look them up and apply payments, things like that. You can also hold itineraries without a deposit sometimes. If your deposit isn't due for a couple days, it'll let you put in the client's name and information and hold that itinerary for a few days until you make that deposit. So that's a really cool feature too. And then the itineraries is just something for your reference that you're thinking about maybe quoting, and you can just name them as such and retrieve them there, but they are not held. And right here is the reservations. Now this is where you can choose to create a vacation package, which includes air and land. Hotels, air, cruise, guided tours, so you can check those out. Offers and incentives allows you, as far as the offer wizard, that is a place where if you know exactly what you want, you can type it in there and it's going to, boom, give you some suggestions on dates where maybe it's a little bit less expensive, I guess, or you can find a better value. It'll give you a few options. It's kind of a cheat to know if you already know exactly what you want. Promotions is where there's obviously a sale for a type of supplier or a resort, something that you can apply as far as maybe a coupon code that you can check out. And again, you can just look, it'll ask you for the destination, and you can look it up that way. Agent incentives is where a certain supplier or a resort or what have you is having some type of incentive for the agent to use them for their booking. So let's say you wanted to go to Hotel XYZ and they say 5-night minimum, you get $100 extra on a prepaid card. So that's another nice incentive, I guess, for using VAX VacationAccess. So you can check those out. Suppliers, you can check out all of the things that are offered through the system if you're not familiar with them already. If you want some great information on destinations, maybe your clients aren't quite sure where to go and you're not quite sure where to send them. These are just the big ones, so the most frequent ones, I guess. You can see it as you click on them, you can get a little more specific. So if you want to know about St. Lucia, you click on St. Lucia and it'll tell you about it, which is really cool, and all of the things that they have going on there. So it's actually a really good resource to learn as you're going, especially for newbies. And the education tab, that is where if you want some more training on using VAX, if you want to know a little bit more about your suppliers and just some overall education with the system and the booking and what's involved, education is a great tab for that. And then the compass is more industry related. So that has a lot of great resources for travel as well. So we're just going to start by going back to the home page here. And you'll see that as I scroll through here, these are just advertisements from the suppliers. These are some quick tips. This is another advertisement. The compass is the exact same thing as we did up there. They're just putting it there visually. So don't let all of this overwhelm you. A lot of it is very similar to what's already up here. They're just showcasing it for you. But right over here is where you want to go to start booking. And like I said, we're going to do a land only. So it's going to ask you first for your supplier. So if you're sure, or if you're not sure, you can scroll through here and pick one that maybe you have done yourself as a non-travel agent. Maybe you went on a vacation with Southwest Vacations and you booked it yourself and you were happy with them. You can search them. There's FunJet, United, Discovery Cove, TNT, Busch Gardens, all these different ones, American. Blue Sky is great for Hawaii. So you can check those out and get familiar with them. But for today, we're just going to go with a simple FunJet one. They serve a lot of different places. So charter destination would be if you're doing charter flights, but I won't get into that, but that's just something you might want to know. And so for package type, like I said, you can book a lot of different types of packages as shown on that tab that we first looked at. I'm going to choose hotel only and then going to. Now, here's where you're going to put your destination. So, if you're not sure, I want you to go ahead and look at the destinations tab. This is what I used to do when I wasn't sure where to go. I knew I wanted somewhere warm, so I would just look up different places that met the qualification process that I did with my clients. So, one of the best tips I can give you is we are travel advisors or travel agents, some still use. We are not booking engines. Okay. So our purpose is not to serve an audience by just booking them online. We're more of an advisor saying, here, I want you to give me your wish list. I want you to tell me everything about your trip that you visualize in your head that you want for this vacation. And I want to bring that to life. And I'm going to do the research to find you the best value for your budget. Meaning, I'm going to take that wish list and whatever your budget is, and this is my tip to you because not every agent does this or advisor. But for me personally, what I found works so much better than saying, well, let's see what the prices are if you want to go to the Dominican. Okay, so if I were to say, here, let me just see what I can find and price it out for you, the chances of them going with that first option is probably slim, especially if they are hesitant to give you a budget or really don't know what it costs to travel. So I would suggest asking them for a budget you can spend all of. And that way you can go in and say, these are the parameters. Let me try to fit as much of my wish list, your wish list, into the budget as possible. So that was just my little personal tip for you. So it makes this part a lot easier. Okay. So let's say that you've done some research and you want to go to Montego Bay. Now it's going to ask you for the airport code. If you aren't sure, you can go ahead and just look through all of that list. Okay. Find the city that you want to look for the destination for your clients. And then you're going to be able to choose the room. So if you have a lot of clients that want to stay together and book through one reservation, you can choose how many rooms you think you'll need and then assign. So we'll pop in here real quick. So you'll see how many adults and children in room 1, in room 2, how many adults and children. So that makes it really easy and handy. And then also if you're booking an infant, you can just click on there and it'll have some rules for you to follow there as well. So check-in date. Now, if you're not quite sure, maybe the client's a little bit flexible, just throw some dates in there and you can, play around with them. But we're just going to pick some easy ones. We're going to go December for 6 nights and it'll tell you how many nights there. And then your promo code would be if you had gone in and found a promotion, maybe you knew you wanted to go to Jamaica and you wanted to check out a few resorts from, let's say, AM Resorts. They're a company that has a lot of resorts in the Caribbean. Maybe they're having a special promotion and you wanted to check them out. You can put the promo code in here, let's say, and it might give you a discount. So you can apply that. But what I will kind of show you this when we get there. But what I want you to know is another tip. So you're going to want to write this down if you aren't familiar with VAX or haven't done any promo codes, is that your commission will obviously decrease because the price will be decreasing. However, they will also tend to cap your commission. So let's say some suppliers like Charisma, they can give anywhere between 19 and 21% commission. And if you apply a promo code, sometimes, not always, that commission can get capped at 10% because you're using a code. So your commission can drastically decrease. Now, you'll always want to do what's best for the clients, but that's when this budget comes into play here, at least for me. But just something to think about as well that most of us don't understand when we're using promo codes. Okay, and then the last choice for the search is adding travel protection. Now, travel protection is so crucial. You can always hover over these, by the way, to see what it means. But when it comes, another thing I wasn't sure of or didn't know at all, actually, when I started was when you're quoting someone and you're quoting the travel protection, sometimes people will lump the two costs together, the two prices, the cost of the package plus the cost of insurance, and just give it as one price to the client. However, you are not able to do that legally, I believe, in most states, at least not where I'm from. So you really want to check on the rules where it is you live and with your host. You want to make sure that you're doing it the right way so that when you present this to the clients. You're saying, here's the package price and the insurance is additional, or the travel protection is additional. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that too. So I don't add it in right now. I just want to get a feel for what it is as far as the place I'm going to be booking or quoting. So you just hit search and it's going to do its little magic here. Maybe. Okay. And up is going to pop up this kind of overwhelming thing. Okay. But let's take it apart really quickly. So on the left, you are going to have some filter features. Now, remember, we talked about having a budget. Let's say, for instance, your budget for this client was $4,000 for those 6 days. You can drag this slider. It's kind of touchy, but okay, 40-25 is good, to kind of give them give VAX, that is, a place to start, okay, so that you're not sifting through, sometimes what seems like hundreds of options. So let's say we want to go between 3 and 4,000, or 4,025, okay, so you can filter that way. And then the rating, you'll see that all of them are in this 5-star category, but you could maybe hit 4 and 5-star. And that could weed out some more, depending on your client's needs. And then there's also amenities. So let's say that you are booking children and you want child's amenities, or you want to make sure there's a pool there or a restaurant on site. All of these things can be really important questions to ask your clients. So don't forget to qualify. It's not just about going to the beach and having a good time. Okay, we want to make sure they're comfortable. What I do honeymoons. So a lot of mine just want adults only. So I can click that. And they want all inclusive. There's a lot more options of things. But see, as we're narrowing things down, we're getting less and less choices. Okay. But this is a great way to say, hey, this is what my client's looking for. Is there something out there that can match? Now, it doesn't work every time. Okay. Sometimes you'll hit, like right now, if my client wanted golf, there's no option for that. So I would have to try to take something out. And this, again, is where you need to prioritize the wish list, try to get as much of the wish list in as possible. But you kind of have to play with it sometimes and see what you can do for the client as far as getting the most in there possible. Now, points of interest. Let's say that they really, really want to go to, I don't know. Well, I was going to say Rick's Cafe, but nothing's matching that. So they want to go to 7 Mile Beach in Jamaica. So there's only one that is 5 miles from 7 Mile Beach. So here, the slider tells you how many miles it is away from something. And then the additional search items, as far as check-in date and check-out date, that can be a little confusing. This would be more used for, let's say you had a flight going to, the client was going to go to a wedding somewhere, maybe Puerto Rico, but they have to stay at their room block first, but then they want to take their own vacation in Puerto Rico after that wedding and go somewhere else. If you want them to have a different check-in date to the resort or the hotel that you're booking, this is where you could adjust that. And then the hotel brand, if you have a preference there, and you can even filter by hotel name. Okay, so if we go back up here, we're going to just, again, we can sort through, this is one I want to share with you. Sorry, getting a little tongue tied. You can sort low to high as far as what is available, because as you go through here, or high to low, you'll see that some places, if I get all the way to the bottom, like this one, the Golden Eye, is sold out for those dates. So it won't show the option. There's actually a few. It'll show you what's available so you can get to learn what's available, but it won't let you select it. But we're just going to go back. We're going to go to preferred. Okay, so let's select this. Now, Secrets Wild Orchid is, you can look at, it's in Jamaica and it hits all those boxes that I would have checked. Okay, let's pretend this was in the filter. So it's going to show you the name of the hotel. It's going to show you the rating that it gives. And you can actually look on the TripAdvisor reviews for it. Now, we all know that we don't need to trust them completely, but it may help you sort through things. It's going to tell you a few, I guess, good to know items in this box here. So they give an instant price match where, again, it's telling you right here, you can see it. It earns 10% commission on matches. So if you have to price match, you will also sometimes lose that whole commission as well. So you really have to think about these things before you start booking a client and figuring out how your business is run, or at least it's something you have to think about in the meantime. when you're thinking about protecting your commission and making sure you're getting paid your value. Also says that when they book secrets right now, they can get 200 in resort coupons, but you can also click view all promotions because sometimes there's more that go with the different resorts or hotels that you're booking. So it'll show you here the current promotions that you're going to book when you book this today. Okay, these could change if you're putting it on hold. So you're going to receive the coupons and you're going to show the clients all of these details right before they put their money on, at least for me, so that they understand exactly what they're getting. And there's no question. So they don't think that they're getting 200 off their vacation because you didn't give them these details here, things like that. You really want to be really clear, and also you yourself as the agent want to make sure that when you book this resort that you get these promotions because there are some things that you might need to do. So for instance, here I see to receive this offer, enter newlyweds or anniversary in the special service request section. Okay, so you're going to want to make sure when you're booking that you follow that direction or your client may not get that promotion. All right, so that's just something to note. So when we go back, we'll close out of this real quick. You're also going to see the type of room category. Now, another tip I'm going to give you is when you look at this room category, this may not be the same description as on the public website. So I always encourage you to make sure that whatever you think you're going to be booking, you go and investigate on their website too, because this, I'll tell you, it's pretty accurate, but sometimes there's going to be some discrepancies. So you want to make sure that you know exactly what you're booking for your client. So it'll show all the options here. You can select a different one if you want to. So you would just hit select and you'll see a new price. Okay. So let's say you've chosen your room category, but let me go right back to that tab. If you click on the resort name, it'll show you that tab again that tells you a little bit more about the resort. You can look at the hotel policies. So you have to make sure that you explain these to your guest. You can look at the amenities that they'll get. If you do weddings, it'll tell you how to figure all that out. Accommodations, again, is the rooms. Dining, you can tell the clients how many choices they have. The activities that are on site so that you can, let's say your client she's a yoga instructor. You can go and say, oh, they do have yoga classes here. And sometimes that's helpful for the client to know whether or not this is something they want to pursue. Off-site recreation, it'll tell you what's close by. So remember I told you they didn't have golf, but here it says golf is close by. So that could be good for my golfer, even though it's not right on site. And then again, of course, the TripAdvisor reviews. And then you can scroll through some pictures, which is pretty cool. But one thing I also want to share with you, I got a lot of buts, don't I? On a map, you want to make sure that your client also understands how far away it is from the airport because there are some people that do not want to spend their vacation on a bus or traveling to get to their resort. Okay, so moving on. What do we do here? So we've got our hotel ready. Now we can look at features. And this identification required pretty much all the time pops up for me anyway. So it always tells what my clients need to do to get into the country and gives some information about how they can access further information for that. But it gives you a guide. It tells you whether or not they price match, and it'll tell you a little more about that if you want to do it. And then transportation. Now it'll fill some of these things in automatically. So even though you didn't choose any transportation yet, it kind of gives you a default. But to check any more features out as far as transportation, tours, add-ons at the resort, you can click that feature button and it's going to list all of this out. Now I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but what I do want to show you is that, let's see, we know our client wants to go to Dunn's River. So there is an excursion that you can put on, or I'm sorry, a tour that you can put on from the hotel. See, it says from Montego Bay, and it will give you a description when you click on it. So you're going to do the same thing here. You want to make sure you know exactly what that client's going to be doing because a lot of people will book it and they will not explain what it is. And also the inclusions and exclusions. Sometimes you will have a tour on here that does not include transportation and they're going to have to pay for that when they get there. So it's very important to know all that. Also your cancel policies, who it's suitable for. Can't be pregnant or elderly. So you really have to do your due diligence when you're recommending things. So we can clear that filter. And again, you're going to see that you can book travel protection, transportation, sightseeing tours, area attractions, whoops. And so there's so many different things that you can use here, but I do want to show you one. Yes, they do have it here. Okay. Additional options, which is kind of like, what's that? Now, these are really nice because if you're going to a certain place, they might say, hey, this resort is offering something special. So let's say you're doing a girlfriend's getaway and they have some type of special for named that. And you're like, oh, that's cool. I bet my girl trip would like that. So this is going to tell you yoga sessions, champagne upon arrival, access to the wet bar, I'm sorry, the wet areas, 10% off treatments, manicure and pedicure. So it's going to tell you what they can get when they go there. So that's really cool. And then other neat things are you're seeing more and more different. Now this would be for air packages, but more and more VIP services where they fast track you through customs and immigration, and that way you don't have to spend so much time in line. They have a lot of those types of services now, and sometimes we can book them right on these websites, which is great. So you're going to want to check all of those out until you get a feel for what's actually out there, and you get really, really good at your one destination, and then you're going to move on to the next. Now, it's also going to give them an option for them to pay monthly. So you can click on that and learn how to do that. We won't go over that today. And what types of taxes and fees are included. But what's really important is also these terms and conditions. You want to familiarize yourself with them, but you're really going to want to send a link to the terms and conditions because your clients are going to have to agree to these before they book your trip with you, okay? Especially this trip here. So when you're quoting, you can do a couple different things. VAX lets you email or print the itinerary. So if you wanted to send this to your client directly, you could. I personally don't recommend it. That's one of my tips is I always want my branding here, especially when I'm just quoting. I don't want them to necessarily have all of the information on where they can book this exact same thing. So what I do is I send it right here to my own email, and then I copy and paste the information and put it with my own branding. Okay, but remember you have to include all of these things. Like right here, it says review the terms and conditions because they're going to have to agree with that. But here it has all of the information that you're required to let your clients know or your potential clients know. Now, the other cheat that I do not line itemize, if that's a word, every single price on there. So I will delete this and just show them the total price. Okay. I also do price per person. Actually, that's the one I focus on. It sounds a lot better at $18.65 a person than $37.30 to some people. So I give them a per person price, but I make it very clear that that's what it is. So that's how you could quote somebody, or that's what my little cheat for you. And then you can create the actual sales email that goes along with it. So if you want to save this itinerary, you'll see that as you do searches, you're going to add a bunch of different searches. Let's say you're going to check out 3 different resorts. As you do those, let's see if I can, I don't want to mess this up, but if I hit reservation and did the same process, you'll see another search pop up under here, okay? And it'll save them continuously so that you can go back and compare them. So let's say I wanted to save this and let my customers decide. I just go to save. And I'm going to enter okay, you can see all the one that I've done. So I'll just hit this. One of my clients, their budget was the budget was $4,000 for 6 nights. But to make it easier on myself, I say the client's name, the hotel that the itinerary is for, and how many nights, because she was flexible with the nights, 3,800 and the date. Okay. You can name yours however you want to. Me, I like to just do first glance ones so that I don't have to click through everyone and see which one is the right one. So you can just save your itinerary and it'll do that. And then you would go back up to this tab here on Retrieve Saved Itinerary. You can find it and then book it from there, okay? And you can do that a couple times. What I will say is when you want to book this, so actually let me back up. Right before we do that, we want to check our commission, right? So you want to know how much you're making on this because you cannot keep working for free. So we want to make sure that we're at least getting our value or at least we're able to track it. So the nice thing I love about using this system is you can adjust your commission. So let's say you have worked on this for like 20 hours. Okay. Maybe you're a newbie and you really struggled, or maybe they just kept changing their mind and you want to add maybe $30 more in commission. Okay. You can do that there. But for ease of use, I do want to show you one thing. So here's the gross amount that they're going to pay. Here's the commission that you're going to earn from that. So here's the net. that is due to VAX, okay, or your supplier. Now, this little box says display as line item. That just means it's going to show up to your audience or to your client as a charge, an extra charge when you increase this. So you don't really want that. At least I wouldn't think you would want them to know, hey, I'm marking your package up. But what I also want to tell you, and now remember, when you add that discount code, it's going to drop your commission. So you can track that. You can add the code after this and compare the two. But when you add commission, let's say for ease of use, you want to add $100. So technically what you should see is $38.30 is their total, and maybe $6.40 is the commission, correct? But when you set the commission, you're going to see $6.30 come up instead of that $6.40. Now, why is that? They take 10% of your commission that you add on. So $10 is going to go to the supplier for letting you increase your commission. Okay, so I just kind of wanted to show you that too, because that's something a lot of people don't know that will affect your bottom line. So you just got to think of those things. But let's say you want to book this vacation, you're just going to check out. And sometimes it takes forever, okay? And you're just going to review it. And again, if you wanted to change, different room types, it'll show you how much you would save or what you'd have to add on. You're going to want to review the details, and it's going to ask you, be sure to recommend FunJet vacation protection plans, okay? But we're just going to decline that for right now because I want, personally, myself to go over that separately. I want them to first decide on that. But it is going to give you a price so that you'll know without adding it to the package, again, what the price would be. Whoops. I clicked it. All right, well, I guess we're going to click it. But remember to separate those out. So we're going to jump down here. And along with your quote, you're going to have already done all of this information and collected it. But along with your quote, you're going to also want to let them know the deposit and when it's due and how much. Okay, so this one, if they wanted to book it, they would have to put $203.98 down on or before July 19th. I'm sorry, July 28th of 2019. All right, in order for that to hold for them. So you always want to give them that information as well. So here's where you would enter all of the information. Be very careful to make sure that everything matches, first and last name, flight number. So if you're going to add flights later, or they have booked them with points, you're just going to want to enter that information because this is what's going to go to the transfer company so that they can pick up their clients. Or you can just check, I don't have the information at that time, and you can go in and do that later by going back up to your retrieved reservations and entering it in. That box will still be there, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Itinerary tools will let you add on those service requests. So at the hotel, you're going to want to do what? Type in anniversary. Whoops. So they get that promo code. I'm sorry, that promotion that came with it, but that you have to make sure you request. And then you can select bedding, non-smoking, and it is their anniversary, okay? Any add-on requests that may make the price go up, of course, that's something you're going to have to talk to the actual hotel about, but it is a request that's passed along. Internal comments. This is just for travel agents, so you could say something like, make sure they get passports with the correct name on it. Okay, so maybe they're booking the hotel and then you just want to note on here that they don't have their passports, and you want to make sure that before you book this, that's something they've done or whatever it is. Payment information, again, you can apply the promo code, and then you're just going to collect the information and put it toward the payment. Again, you're going to have to, on their behalf, tell them and check the box that you have let them know this and the client has agreed to all of these terms and conditions. Okay, so and then you're just going to complete the booking. Okay, so it's got me and my details right on top here, and you can see the price, and you just make sure that everything is as you want it. Now, let's say that you have held this. This is called holding a booking. So we've got until July 28th to deposit on this. So when you're ready to deposit, you would go retrieve the reservation and then go down here, apply the payment. But let's say that you wanted to change something or add something. You would go to modifications, and then you could change whatever component that you wanted to. Okay, so let's say you wanted to change one of the features, maybe you wanted to add a tour. This is how you would modify it. Okay, you go to change component, let the system work, and click that feature button. We'll just pretend that we're going to do the spirit of reggae and hit that, and you'll see that it's going to change the price for you. So you're going to hit checkout again, and it's going to say modification in progress. And you might have to check that. I do not have flight information, but this is where you would add it, is under the modifications again. So we talked about that earlier. And then you would just review it again, and you would have to check that you read the terms and condition, and you would just complete the itinerary change. And there you have it. So I hope that helps. What I'll just do is show you how to access it from the homepage. After you log into VAX, you're just going to go to retrieve reservations, and you should see all of the ones you've booked pop up, or not. They have changed this a little bit since the last time I've used it. Okay, so if I'm looking for myself, you can just type in the client's name, and you should be able to have it pop up, and you can just click the button to view the reservation, all of the details that I haven't paid yet. And then you can go ahead and you can add your payment, fix any of the comments that you had, modify. If you want somebody else to go on the same trip, you could hit copy, and that will again do this exact duplicate of this, but you can do it for somebody else if they wanted to go on the same trip. And the history, if you ever say, oh, I forgot where we started, or what steps we've taken here, you can do that. And then to cancel it, you would just go to the cancel button, and I'm going to do a complete cancellation. Now, if there were payment already made, you're going to have to request a refund. That page would pop up after this. There's no refund needed, but should you have put any payment on it and it was refundable, you would request it there. Or if you want to do a price match, you would do that there as well. So I hope that helps you with your first basic booking on VAX, a little bit less intimidated, I hope. And if you have any questions, you can either contact me at Tips for Travel Agents, or you can, I'm sure, drop them beneath wherever you're watching this right now, and we'll try to help you best we can. So thank you again. Thank you to Host Agency Reviews for all you guys do, and God bless.